How could she? I don't understand. She said was my sister. She never me. She never do. If she's going to hurt her, she doesn't care about the princess, my mom and dad. And then she asked you for more money another day. Hey friends, it's Kody from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Tuesday, April 16th, 2024, and I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. There has been a new man and couple that has dethroned the Brown family in outrage on the internet when it comes to sister wives or seeking sister wives or polygamy. Now it's been debated recently in my comments as well as in articles about Kody Brown having someone that could potentially be worse than him on TLC when it comes to polygamy. I have watched the show on and off and I caught myself up with seeking sister wives. So we could talk about Garrick Merrifield. And is he worse than Kody Brown? And does he qualify as someone that is worse than Kody Brown? Is it comparable to compare them? Is it reasonable to make the inference? And we're going to talk. Because there is some differences here. There's in fact a lot of differences. When it comes to Garrick and Kody, they come from completely different worlds. And the reasons why they practice are completely different. And the reasons why they're involved in a show are completely different. And it's very reasonable for people to be alarmed by Garrick Merrifield, but we're going to discuss because I wouldn't say he's worse than Kody. I would say he's maybe as bad, but it's hard to say because he's younger than Kody, and we just don't know the trajectory that this is going. But what TLC is delivering with this family is incredibly problematic considering the fact that Garrick and Danielle, who were married but are now divorced, because they were going to get a woman from Brazil to marry them named Roberta, who she needed a visa in order to come here, would have had to marry Garrick legally, and so Danielle divorced her husband of 1,000,000 years and did this so that he could bring Roberta into the family, but the reasons why they practice polygamy is so insane it doesn't even make sense, and it kind of feels like these two were either swingers or Garrick just wants to cheat on his wife and is using God as an excuse to do this, but his reasons for polygamy don't even make sense, and I'm saying this as Joseph Smith's reasons don't make sense, but Grick's are even more asinine so, and don't forget that in the middle of this, there are two children that are involved in this mess, so let me introduce you a little bit to Garrick. I think we just thought it was wrong and evil, 'cause that's how we were raised at first, yeah. But we searched the scriptures for years, and finally came to a conclusion we're like we can't say it's wrong, it's a reflection of Jesus in his church. Because a lot of the scriptures, the terms where it says he fills you with the Holy Ghost, it's actually a sexual term. It actually means like sperm going into like intimacy that way. That's how described it this season, that this Holy Ghost is filling people up with the juice that comes out of men, the little swimmers. And it's a term that means you have to have intimate relations with a lot of people. And he said he searched the scriptures for years and that this is how he determined that this is why you should live polygamy. If that's what he got out of that, it's ridiculous. But it's completely different story than the first season. The first season, he said he searched the scriptures and he just found that there was good people in the Bible that practiced polygamy, so God must like polygamist, and in order to be godly, you need to practice polygamy. He had no actual doctrine, he had no scriptures, he literally had no passages to prove any of his claims, he has no rules for how they practice, he doesn't explain why it's necessary in his religion, he doesn't explain if it'll help him be more godly, if it'll help the women be more godly, there's no explanation. So it's really just a dude that is using God as a tool to cheat on his wife. Literally now the wife might be in on it. Although she's very not in on it because she seems very miserable on her Instagram. She'll say that she's happy. This is what she wants, but this is not a woman on the show that looks happy now. There's been documents, there's been a lot of rumors over the years that prior to the show they were like swingers, and they would approach women at bars to like hook up, and I actually believe that more than his arguments. Hear about the Holy Spirit filling you up, and that's why you have to sleep with a lot of women. They don't have any set rules about how their family will run. There's no model or elders. There's no dictation about what constitutes a marriage. So in the framework, he's different than Kody, because Kody comes from a culture that actually has leaders, albeit cult leaders, that have rules, that have a doctrine, that have documents that they can look back at, and they can say, this is why we practice it. And then there's all these other people, like through the years of that church, that have said this is why you should do it. And this is what you'll achieve with the celestial kingdom. So Kody's isn't impulsive. It's still Kody using it to have a lot of relationships with other women, but Garrick is just more haphazard. Like, I decided I want to sleep with women, and so that's what I'm going to do. And he says he gets lots of, he always says that he's having conversations with God and God is telling him what to do, and Danielle, when she has concerns, he constantly demeans her. Danielle is really emotional and running around in circles because God hasn't delivered her from jealousy, never worried that she might just be doing this for you and that deep down she has concerns or maybe wants to not live this way. No, I don't have concerns that Danielle think that she's being forced or some way to live this way. I think without a doubt she's totally convinced that God delegated this to her in her life to bless her, and they had been living a monogamous marriage for years. And then he suddenly, decides that he wants to live polygamy, and she has to go along with the ride. And regardless of what she says that she believes it, it is very clear that Garrick is the one driving this bus. He is the one forcing her to go along with it. And whether it's what she wants or not is irrelevant, because if she doesn't go along with it, he's going to do it anyway. And he's proven that over and over and over again, and along the way he has done things to the family that has put them in complete chaos. He decided in the first season that they were introduced that he was going to marry a woman from Brazil named Roberta. He and Roberta, they meet several times. They are courting on and off over the years. And they get engaged, and the first time they get together in Mexico, for the first time they film with Roberta. For the show they have sex completely without talking about what the guidelines would be on the trip. Danielle has a meltdown, and he just acts like, well, you should have assumed that I was going to do this. She just needs to get over her jealousy over the course of the relationship with Roberta. There are so many red flags that this is not going to work. She keeps stalling. She has a million reasons why she's not going to come and see them. And on the one hand, Roberta is constantly asking them for money, which is a red flag that she's using them for money. But on the other hand, they're not acting like a couple that I would want to move to the United States to live with, because they're not including Roberta in conversations about if they're going to add more people they start dating. Someone without consulting Roberta, they make decisions, and it's like, really, Garrick is running this show, and then Danielle is doing whatever Garrick wants decisions, and everyone else is supposed to go along with it. And so the women that are getting brought into this, it's more like, to me, feels like trafficking. Because one woman already exited. She was brought in season 4 for like 2 episodes, named Leah, and it was very clear to her very early on that she would have no say. They wanted her to quit her job. They wanted her to be home all the time. They wanted her to commit to the family. She wouldn't have a say. If they wanted to add more wives, it was going to be up to Danielle and Garrick. And she said, I'm not going to do this. She had a very forceful personality. She was from California, and not in a bad way. She was just assertive, and she was on the same playing field because she was from the United States and could dictate what she wanted to do in life. She didn't need them. She wasn't dependent on them. She wouldn't be dependent on them, and that's not what Garrick wanted, and they didn't want. And so a lot of people don't like Garrick because he's going down to Brazil, and he's meeting women that don't speak English, that don't have the same kind of affluence that they do in the United States, that would be coming here and being ripped away from their families, where they would become dependent upon him and her and would have no family support nearby. He's going after women that are considerably younger than him. He's 40 years old, and Natal, the current girl in this current season, is 25. He has preyed on now 2 women in Brazil. They have made it seem that Roberta was a scammer. It's debatable to me on whether or not she actually was scamming them, or if Roberta, like Leah, realized that she would have no say, because these were the same issues that Roberta brought up. Garrick kept sending Roberta money, and that's on Garrick. That's not on him, not on her, and she benefited from the money for sure. But I don't think that Roberta was quote-unquote scamming them. I don't think she would have run a scam that long and gone to the links that she had gone to. I think there was a lot of red flags, and Roberta dodged a bullet. But as soon as Roberta broke up with them, they immediately flipped the script and said that she was a scammer. So they had all the red flags because she's asking for money, and then once she doesn't want to be with them anymore, then she's a scammer. So it was okay to give her money when they were but not once they were apart. I didn't like that narrative at all, and I also didn't like the narrative that it portrayed for immigrants of these countries, as though everyone that lives in Brazil is literally just trying to scam American men for money. And that's racist. It's wrong. So there's that part. Roberta didn't have an opportunity to explain why she made the choices that she made, but leading up to the breakup, it was clear that she was having serious reservations for the exact same reason that Leah did, that Garrick was the one that was going to drag the bus, that she would have to go along with whatever Danielle said, and as long as Garrick and Danielle were in charge, she would just have to be okay with it. She had the exact same reservations as Leah. But they didn't call Leah a scammer, make it make sense, so he sends tens of thousands of dollars to Roberta. He brings his children by the way on these trips. Danielle is exposing her children to all of these women, and they're introducing all of these women to these children, who by the way are minors and really should not be on a show that is so highly charged around sex. Their entire relationship is dictated around Garrick. Having sex with these women, it's not about love, because if it were, he wouldn't be trying to bring them back to the United States so quickly, so impulsively, and then sleep with them right away. Right, at least some polygamous men in the Mormon culture hide it a little bit better than Garrick. Garrick is so clearly, in my opinion, after sex, that the fact that they're going to these other country to get women feels very sex trafficking to me. Now, they haven't been convicted of any crimes, but it just is very disturbing. The new woman thereafter again is from Brazil. Her name is Natalia. She is 15 years younger. She doesn't speak English. She just graduated from law school in Brazil, but not in the United States. The degrees are not equivalent when she comes to the United States. Her law degree in Brazil would mean nothing, because they're not equivalent, and he is forcing his wife to move into this relationship when she hasn't even let go of Roberta. They just broke up with Roberta, and he's already proposing to Natalia, and it's another woman in Brazil that doesn't speak English, and he would want to bring here for the sole purpose of being a quote-unquote wife. And again, in this scenario, he is speaking to other. With Roberta, he was speaking to other women and not consulting Roberta, and with Natalia, he was doing the exact same thing, and she caught him on an app, and he not only lied to this girl, Natalia, but he also lied to his wife what number profile. SS, lots, 10 lots, 10 yeah. Lots, I guess me and sister did that to start out with, because so many people don't go on these apps to live plur. Natalia definitely is not happy about the 10 dating apps. I think she's pretty shocked again to sound like a little bit of a trafficker. But not only is he repeating what he did with Roberta, where he continues to talk to other women, while he's already courting one and not being honest with the other woman that he's courting, she finds out that he has 10 dating apps, and it's not just dating apps, but he is using regular dating apps, and then through the dating apps he is luring women under the premise of monogamy and then discussing polygamy with them after. So these women are not on these apps for plural marriages. They're not on these apps for polyamory or anything of that sort. Whatever kind of combination you want to describe here, they are there for a monogamous relationship, and he's using these apps nefariously to find women to convince them to become polygamous women, and he's targeting women in foreign countries who complete control of once they become United States citizens, and they would be left in the U.S. without resources, without support. It has all of the telltale warning signs of a guy that wants to traffic someone, and I'm not saying that's what he does. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. It's predatory, and he's only going to be able to do this one time, because if he marries one of the girls from Brazil, he can't keep going down to foreign countries. He can only marry one, and then he's going to have to find other women in the U.S. that want to be a part of this. But regardless, all of the relationships fall apart because most of the women begin to figure out there are no rules. They're going to be going into a situation where they have no control, and even if they can come to America, it's not a good situation or a healthy relationship to be in. So he's spending money that he's, taking all this time away from his family and from his children. He has 2 kids, and Danielle just had a 3rd child, by the way, so still is, in my opinion, as bad as Kody, that it is completely illegal to marry someone to bring them into the United States for the purposes of practicing polygamy. The fact that they are doing this so bracingly on television is actually shocking to me. Thus far, none of the women that they have tried to bring over to the United States have actually immigrated here or stepped foot on the soil, but immigration clearly makes it illegal for a man to bring a woman over here for the purposes of being a plural wife, which is what he's trying to do with these women. He's flouting the law. Both of them are, frankly, Danielle and Garrick. They could both be arrested for what they're doing. It's illegal, and it should not be on television 100%, which to me makes them in the same category as Kody. So if you want more content about seeking sister wives, let me know. I'm not sure if I will, but we can always dive into it. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click on the bell so you never miss a video. Bye guys.